Hi guys, German Prepper here. We are being lied to each and every day on why Ukraine, NATO and their allies are in conflict against the Russian Federation with no government-backed calls for a negotiated peace. Whatever your views on when and why it started, whichever side you favour, today I will reveal to you one of the real end goals of the conflict. Listen through guys, this intel in its totality is astounding and you'll hear it nowhere else. Here is your latest update. Russian Federation media has reported a Ukrainian-backed sabotage group named the Russian Volunteer Corps entered a village in the Bryansk region of the Russian Federation bordering Ukraine. Reportedly, as a result of the actions of the group, one local resident was killed and a 10-year-old boy was wounded, while several locals were held hostage for a time in a local store. Dmitry Peskov, press spokesman of the President of the Russian Federation, announced it a terrorist attack and assured that measures are being taken to destroy the terrorists. The State Border Guard Service of Ukraine, in contrast, called the attack a false flag media provocation. This is a hugely important event, guys, that has been utterly suppressed in the Western media. The reason why will become plain when we hear the actual Ukrainian government response to it. Alexei Danilov, Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, has made this statement. I think that in the near future, we will hear a lot about the Russian Volunteer Corps, the corps that will liberate independent countries on the territory of the Russian Federation. All this awaits us in the near future. And believe me, those citizens who currently live in the territory of Russia, it's they who will do the work on the issue. There are no citizens of our country there today. And these fictions that they told, that this is the Ukrainian sabotage group, that it's some Nazis who crossed in. Well, these are fairy tales that they constantly tell, but only to themselves. Because I emphasize once again, the civilized world no longer believes this. The liberation from Putin's regime, liberation from that colonial yoke on the territory of Russia has already begun. And it's Putin who started this. He started this on February the 24th, 2022. This is the date for the beginning of Russia's disintegration. Well guys, that was Ukraine at the highest levels of government talking about the disintegration of the Russian Federation being underway. Such words ironically bring validity to the Russian Federation narrative it is facing an existential threat to its survival and therefore has no choice but to fight on with all means available till victory in Ukraine. Kirill Budanov, head of the Ukrainian Military Intelligence Service, has laid out in an interview what he predicts for the future of the conflict. Difficult times for Russia. At the level of politics and security, the question of the architecture of this region, which stretches from Eastern Europe to the Asian part of Russia, will be raised. Potentially this may change the political and territorial configuration of the Russian Federation. And it's not a matter of decades, it's something that can come quickly. The world does not need a Russian Federation as it is today, which threatens the whole world. And, apart from the nuclear threat, Russia has nothing else to offer. No one needs this threat. Russia will have to change. Ukraine will become a new centre of regional power. These words, guys, should be on the front page of every media outlet, and yet they're not and they never will be. The Ukrainian government once again admits their desired end goal in this conflict is to bring down the Russian Federation in its totality, and incredibly for Ukraine to take its place as the regional power. This is eye-opening and clearly not an end goal NATO has been willing to admit to. Presumably the Ukrainian government have thought of a way to achieve their goal without triggering nuclear war. Or perhaps not. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine, has made this incendiary but no doubt intentional statement in interview. The US is never going to give up on the NATO member states. If it happens so that Ukraine, due to various opinions and weakening, depleting of assistance loses, Russia is going to enter Baltic states, NATO member states, and then the US will send their sons and daughters exactly the same way we are sending our sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight, because it is NATO we are talking about. And they will be dying, God forbid, because it is a horrible thing. John Kirby, United States White House National Security Council Coordinator for Strategic Communications, has made this careful statement on the continued Biden administration's drawdown of Department of Defense equipment for Ukraine. We have, with every single package that the President has approved, made sure that we consult with the Pentagon, and the Pentagon can reassure the entire interagency that our national security interests are not going to be compromised by the material we're giving to Ukraine. Now, it is true, we've been drawing down on stocks quite a bit. Those inventories have got to be continually replaced. The Pentagon is prioritizing that, as you might think. But we are comfortable and confident that with each package, we're taking a pretty deep look to make sure we can still defend our national security interests around the world. Well, speaking of drawdown, guys, we come to our next inevitable intel item. The United States Department of Defense has announced the Biden administration's 33rd drawdown of equipment from DoD inventories for Ukraine since August 2021, valued at up to $400 million. This is the brief list of items to be supplied. Additional ammunition for high-mobility artillery rocket systems, HIMARS. Additional 155mm artillery rounds. Additional 105mm artillery rounds. Additional 25mm ammunition. Armoured vehicle launched bridges. Demolition munitions and equipment for obstacle clearing. Testing and diagnostic equipment for support vehicle maintenance and repair. Spare parts and other field equipment. There we are then, guys, just another week's worth of World War III supplies, alongside some remarkable Ukrainian government statements that, if taken at face value, promise a continuation of this conflict in Europe to a very bitter ending. A question for you all now to end. Prepping is a matter of survival. Have you considered what skills you will need to master to survive if forced to leave the comfort of your home? As always, looking forward to reading your answers. If you are watching this on YouTube, please support the channel by taking membership. It really makes a difference. But whatever platform you are on, if you are able, share this video. Keep prepping, guys. Cheers for now.